All right, everybody. Today's the new time. If you didn't tune in last week, we are actually now on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. As I always say, the only time zone in the country is Pacific time. So tune in. But we got Jeremiah on here today. Jeremiah, thanks for coming
Hey,
on, man.
yeah,
But
always a pleasure.
but I do want to take a moment. Everybody might notice that Sasha's not on here with us. He is up at a funeral for Barry Mars. So I want to take a moment. Shout out for there's a loss to the industry. I know I only met Barry Mars a few times, but it was always a good conversation. And some of you know him from his time at Master Halco and then SCS and some other ventures that he's had in the industry. But he was a strong influence over the decades and many, many decades. So just do a shout out to everybody and feel bad for his family and everybody that the loss. So awesome. Appreciate everybody being here today. Jeremiah, what's going on, man?
Just selling fences, selling fences, teaching fences. Yeah, Barry Mars is a legend, and he'll be missed for sure. I wanted to add that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a Las Vegas local too. I mean, for the very first time I met him, he came into my office
Oh, I
at
didn't
Las
know
Vegas
that he
Spin.
was from Vegas.
Yeah, I believe that was where his main home was. If he had multiple, I don't know, but he definitely lived in Las Vegas most of the time. So that's what we'd see him at the fence show and stuff. Normally when we had that event, and then he'd either have a booth or he'd at least be walking it because it's in his hometown. But yeah, so he was. It's going to be a loss for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, so I'm just kind of recently accepted a new position. So just still doing the same thing though, selling fences.
Right. So are we sure this is Jeremiah or is this his twin brother? We don't even know,
Selling
right? I mean,
Yeah.
right?
You'll never really know. So we might switch in the middle. You'd be surprised.
Right.
We
All of a sudden there's a glitch and then it's not
Yeah,
really a glitch.
exactly. We have switched places before, so yeah. No, definitely.
So you've
I
got some new stuff going on since I saw you
Oh
last.
yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely. So
what's happening with that? Where are you working?
I'm at Secure Tech Fence here in San Jose, California. And yeah, I was just looking for more of a like you kill what you eat type of vibe.
Yeah.
Or what is it? You eat what you
See
kill,
what
not
you
kill
kill.
what you. I had that flip. Sorry, you eat
Well, it's
what
kind
you
of, yeah, if
kill.
it's already dead, it's a little easier. So yeah, I'm with
So
you. That's my style.
yeah,
I'm like, I got that knife and that fork and I'm taking it out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Sometimes you want the carrot and the stick. Just all stick and no carrot makes me sad.
So you said secure, what is it? The name of the company?
We're, it's called Secure Tech Fence Systems.
Yeah, that sounds like some high tech stuff. What are you doing stuff for NASA or something?
I've signed an NDA, so we'll leave that out. But yeah, there's a lot of high end clientele here in the Bay Area. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we do a
That's
lot of
pretty
work
cool.
for Apple and Google and Netflix. I'm bidding one right now for Pinterest. So yeah, there's all kinds of different projects. In my previous position, we were doing a lot of campus fencing, but we were doing schools.
Yep.
And now when they say campus fencing, it's like headquarter campuses of
Yeah.
these tech companies, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, different kind of campus, but still just as important. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know a little bit about bidding. What were you doing last year at the fence show? You were doing some training, right?
Yeah, we were teaching about the government public works side of contracting and bidding and some of those red flags and some of the things that you need to make sure you have covered and included and
Yep.
bid bonds, performance bonds, payment bonds, all the fun stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's why we were excited. I know we were reaching out and we always stay in touch anyway. But to have you come back to the full throttle experience. So this year is completely different even than last year. So if you've been to any of them, we're really ramping things up and you're doing multiple classes this time, like running a crew that's productive and all the way into advanced pricing strategies, which falls right in line with what you do every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, there's just so much that's going on in the industry. Well, you and me, we're old enough to remember when you used to go. You would have to go to a plan room and do a
Yep.
takeoff, and
Yep.
it's like we're now it's like you have everything on a device in your hand. It's
Yeah.
the industry is constantly changing with technology and systems and software, and if you're not changing as a business owner, then you're getting left behind, whether you know it or not.
Do you
So.
remember, or whoever's listening, remember when it went? I mean, we all started with the rulers, the scale rulers. I mean, the just, three-sided, you'd
Oh,
flip
I
them
still
around and
got
stuff
it.
like
Yeah, I still got
that.
mine.
And then what do you remember when it went to that, remember that digital one that came in the little bag and you could roll it
I
and you
have
put
one of
in the
those
scale?
too.
And oh my God, was that not a life changer? I mean, we were literally at people's contractors. We had to go over to the GC's office or like Dodge plan rooms or wherever they had at the
Yes.
time
Yep.
and do
Yep.
it.
Yeah,
And we
that's
thought
so true.
we were so cool showing up with our. It was a bag about that long, right? You probably saw
Yeah.
it. And you pull it out.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
set the scale and you could roll it.
Yeah. I still have that, and it really helped with the radius sections.
Yeah,
Because you could use the ruler, but if you got a radius or something like that, you pull out that little thing. Boom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that the industry's changed a lot. The bidding process has changed a lot, and you can really do a bid in half the time if you have the right
yeah,
software and the right
yeah.
implementation.
And now you got stuff like I know that was that Blue Beam people use. You got some Paulo, Dan
Blue
over there. He
Beam,
built, yeah, and then
Simpalo,
yep,
ArcSight,
yep,
ArcSight,
ArcSight, yep,
Fence Cloud.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so much technology in our industry that's just changed the game.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of that software you guys are going to be able to see up the some of this stuff at the fence show. So definitely, if you're interested in looking at some software, if you're thinking about getting into commercial bidding, what I consider commercial bidding isn't necessarily just general contractors and blueprint stuff. We do nothing but commercial and industrial, and we don't do a lot with general contractors per se. It's we bid some of them, but we don't do as much. It's mainly we could consider commercial anybody that's just not a residential
Yeah,
property.
absolutely,
So, and it
absolutely.
doesn't you can do commercial without necessarily having to go out and stare at blueprints all day. It depends on what your what kind of business you're trying to get. So that's what I think, that's what's cool about these shows and about guys like you coming out there is they get to hear from guys like us that bid certain types of project, guys like you, and then there's people out there that only bid public works jobs. I mean, it's amazing. You can be sitting down at a bar or something and start chit chatting with somebody, and they're bidding this entire kind of fence that you're like going, man, I wish I could learn how to do that. And they're like, man, I wish I could learn how to do residential fence. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like I shared this pre-show, but I'll share it during the show. Me and my twin brother, we're both working for people that we've met at the Fin shows. So
I
I
know you're
mean,
saying that.
that's incredible to think about that. Like I'm go to a show, meet a guy, you have dinner, and then 6 months later, a year later, you're working for that guy. So it's like it's just amazing. You never know the opportunities that you're gonna have at these shows and the people that you're gonna meet, the relationships you'll get established. So it's great
Yeah.
for you guys to have this show.
Yeah, and it's
Before,
awesome. I mean, that's to see it and hear it and hear about people. I mean, we do our best to try to get people that have either never been to a show as well. So it's not just I love to meet up with my buddies and hang out, and it's cool to go to the shows and see everybody you know. I mean, that is one of the benefits and of getting to go. You get to see people you talk to on the phone all year sometimes, and you only see once a year at one of these events or twice a year, and
yeah,
it's really cool to see people at the show. But you want to make those new contacts too, because if you don't, if you're not out there shaking hands, and I think that's what we focus on a lot too, is making sure that there's an environment that is conducive to you actually meeting people and getting them together and making it tighter and a more of an open feeling where you just feel comfortable enough to chit chat.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. The team building that can happen, and mentorship type of things that can happen is really beneficial at the shows.
Yeah.
So
What did you I besides got your job, I was gonna say, what did you get out of the last show? But now we know, right?
yeah,
You got a job, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
You're my next poster we're putting up. It's gonna be a picture of you and your brother, or going, we got a job.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No more unemployment for me.
We may not make as much money as we used to make when we were on unemployment, but we got a job.
Yeah, exactly. We get to pay half in taxes. Yay.
Right? And
Oh
we can get
man.
up every morning, right?
Yeah, I'm
So,
from California, so it's ridiculous.
yeah.
But you know,
Right.
it is what it is.
I wanted to talk a little bit while I got you on here, because I mean, a lot of companies are busy. I mean, it's fence industry. I believe you decide whether you're busy or not. I honestly believe that. I mean, you can slow your company down or you can pick it up anytime you want, depending on what you put into it. But a lot of companies are busy. But are they actually productive and profitable? What do you think?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Just from what I've seen in the government public works, it's low bid wins no matter what.
Yep.
And so a lot of times you're bidding so competitively that you're not really uh, figuring the profit in, I guess.
Yeah.
So sometimes these private warehouse type jobs or something like that, you're going to make way more money than you would fencing a whole school, and
Yep.
you'll have half the headaches because you got one or
Yep.
two automated gates. You're not worried about students or leaving holes open, which you want to leave holes open either way, but you don't have
Yeah.
150 kids trampling through your construction area. So yeah, the commercial market, a lot of people that are staying busy, especially in Bay Area or in California, they're just underbidding so many jobs that it's like, whoa, you can't afford to give your guys raises, and some certain things are just not happening for your company. So one of the things that my new company that I'm with now, we pride ourselves on providing the customer with the design services, and we're the industry professionals. So we kind of lead them in the right direction once we get what they're looking for. And
Yeah.
and we use our relationships to work with the regular customer base, and make sure we give them the best service possible. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the low bid model is just such a it's a race to the top because you're raising your revenue, but it's a race to the bottom ultimately,
But I
because
mean,
it's like,
you think it was always there though, the race to the bottom, or has it gotten? I mean, do you see a different pattern? Do you think that complacency has kicked in more, or there's more order takers slash not as many on the salespeople side, or what? I mean, do you think it's worse now than it was?
well, I think it's a compounding problem because there's a huge labor shortage of people in the industry, in the office and the field, that actually have the industry knowledge to even install the fence or the gate operator correctly. And so I feel like a lot of times these companies are bidding uh, a production, and then when they go do the project, they're not getting that production that they're bidding it for. So then it's like a catch 22. Well, we were the low bid, but instead of making 50,000, we made 40,000 or 30,000, because of the labor overages and stuff. And it's hard to keep good people, let's be
Yeah.
honest, with inflation over the last few years, and post COVID, material prices are kind of stabilizing, but a lot of people are struggling with that, just
Yeah.
trying to keep things going and
Yeah.
remain profitable. So yeah, it
That's
was.
interesting. What you're saying is, I mean, are we really underbidding, or are we just getting less productive? You know what I mean? I mean, did we have crews that were installing 300 feet? I mean, obviously, when I say 300 feet, just as a number, depends on where you're at. One guy can, one crew in one part of the city or can build 300 feet of fence, and digging harder somewhere else, it's 200, right? But
Yeah, for
was
sure.
one crew building 300 feet of fence, and then all of a sudden we were still bidding it as assuming that truck got that much done, and then now they're just less productive. So we didn't raise our price because of that. So did we? Are we underbidding it, or are we just not raising it to compensate for production?
I think that's one of the key things, is that people aren't raising it enough for the lack thereof of production. A lot of times, like say in the government public works bidding space, it's uh it's a low bid thing. So it's like, man, you're really having to pinch the numbers and stuff. And with fuel costs, uh, I still don't understand why. I was in Carson City, Nevada, a couple of days ago, and I paid 4.50 a gallon for fuel. and then I come down back to California and I'm paying $6
Yeah.
$6 for fuel. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? But just imagine you have 10 trucks and you're
Yeah.
paying $6 for fuel. It's like, oh geez. You know,
Yeah.
that the cost of inflation with this war or whatever politics are going on,
Yeah.
it's unimaginable. And so everybody's trying to stabilize things, even though prices are rising for every single thing.
Yep.
So we're seeing
Well,
it,
I drive
companies that go ahead.
I drive that Ram 2500 truck, and it's like $200 or something to fill it up.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's getting really bad because I go down to California a lot, right? So I'm down there and it's like $6, $7 a gallon to fill it up. So you can't even, I mean, some stations won't even let you fill it up without having to restart it because the credit card's shut off at like 150 to or 200, right?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
you got to put it back in again and reauthorize it to go over the amount. But I actually went out and got a Toyota Camry, and I never thought I would go from a truck, so I have my truck still, right? Because I want to be able to pull my boat and all the normal stuff, right? And so I didn't get rid of my truck, so I still have that. Bought a Toyota Camry, 47 miles to the gallon, and I
Wow.
thought I wouldn't drive it, and now I'm driving it, and it's like 10 gallons is like $50 to fill it up, and I get like 600 mile a gallon or 600 miles out of it or something.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's those little cars. The thing I like. I drive a big V8 Tundra. The last year they
Yeah.
made the V8 was
Yeah.
2021. So I have the 21 Tundra. But yeah, those little cars are nice because you can just zip around traffic too, zipping in, zipping out. Oh, 320. Oh, in Louisiana. Are you kidding me?
I'm pretty sure Susan commented that and then pulled the comment up herself.
Yeah.
So,
Like
you
what the heck?
know what I mean?
320.
That's like
That we're
liking
paying.
your own photo, right? After you posted it. So
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of doing that. I'm guilty of doing that.
Susan's like, I love
Yeah.
that comment so much that I'm just going to put it up on the screen. I'm like, but she's the one that did the comment. But
So they're paying half for gas in Louisiana. But see, the fence job in Louisiana is going to be about 25,000. In California, it's going to be 50. In Vegas, it's probably going to be 40.
well, and it's half the price in Louisiana, probably because the power's on half the time. So
Yeah.
right.
I've never been to Louisiana, so I wouldn't know. Yeah.
You got to go through when when all the utilities are on and the stoplights are working and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like every other
Exactly.
day. There's some
Yeah.
storm
Yeah.
going on.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
But
Yeah. But
but I, the running a crew was interesting because I haven't thought about that angle that you were saying about how we're not compensating for the production loss that we have opposed to 3, 4, 5 years ago. And
yeah.
if I'm looking at it, you're absolutely right. I mean, even I think some of my old numbers are based off of uh, you know, honestly, I don't know, 150 feet, two guys, one truck can do in chain link, and maybe 80 feet of iron, digging and setting. We do all dig and set. So maybe even I need to go back and revisit. I mean, are they still producing what they're supposed to be producing, right?
Yeah, you almost have to audit, take a handful of jobs. Oh gosh. Take a
Well, that doesn't.
handful of yeah.
Everything is within like a mile and a half of her house, and it's like there's like 4 stores. So I mean, how much gas can she use? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, it's like
Exactly.
it's snowing or something. You can never go anywhere. So I don't know why they give them such cheap gas. There should be like 12, and they still wouldn't spend much money in
It
gas.
wouldn't matter in Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Exactly. No, the places that are getting the gas money are the Californias. That's just ridiculous. I
And
think
traffic. When you need the cheaper gas, right?
yeah, you would think, right? You would think, but it is what it is. You almost have to pick a handful of jobs and audit them to be sure that you're bidding for the right productivity, and a
Yeah,
lot of a lot of jobs that we do are so custom
yep,
that you're it's hard to figure that way,
yeah. I
when
think
you
ours are too. It's a lot of smaller jobs inside the hotels and casinos, and it's like, how do you put, even the 150 a foot or 150 feet in a day? How do you put that on when one day it's just four gates on four different floors, and it took you the whole day because you had to go through, security, the loading docks, get up and through the back of house, and you're still in a whole day. So it's like it's really hard. You're just basically still, hey, I think this is going to take a day, and if for any reason one of the property people couldn't get you access to a room or something, you might be going back the next day, or if there's a
Yeah.
hot work, you deal with hot work stuff. You've
Oh
got,
yeah.
and you're thinking you're going to get out of there, and the guys didn't actually. They got the hot works permit, but they didn't actually start cutting or welding until like 3 in the afternoon. And you're like, man, you guys, by the time you get
Mhm.
done, you still have to sit there on watch for the next 3 hours, right?
Yeah, we try to avoid that at every cost.
Yeah.
We just did a fencing up in San Francisco, like on the 50th floor of one of
Yep.
those skyscrapers, and we fabricate everything here, and we just want to go there, drill a couple holes, anchor things down, and be on our way. Because
Yeah.
yeah, we're dealing with a lot of the same things with docks and elevators and
Yeah.
uh, big city problems, right?
Yeah, yeah, we do a lot in the casinos, and every once in a while, somebody will get one, and they were just like super cheap, and then we're bidding like 3 days, and they bid a day and a half or a day, and I'm like, and it's their first time working inside of one of those properties where they don't realize that they're going to get there and they can't park and they can't unload they got to unload onto a cart and try to get and then go figure out where to park their car and get through security, get badged. Maybe they're not badged
Yeah.
for the
Oh yeah.
property.
Oh yeah.
There's 2 hours of your morning right there, and then they end up
Yeah.
losing, and then the next one they're back in line with you. Like,
Yeah.
man.
That's a fact, man. We do a lot of private campus work where we got to
Yeah,
get badge and get through security, and it's hours every day sometimes. Just trying to get onto the site. So
yeah.
yeah,
But
there's
once you learn, I mean, once you learn that your way around back of house at one of these facilities, whether it's a school, whether it's a hospital, I mean, they're basically it's all the same. If it's a hospital, if it's if it's one of the casinos, one of those places with a big back of house, once you get in and you've got badged, and it's worth it because now you know the property, and they don't want to deal with someone new. They don't want to have to go out and try to help some new contractor figure out where to park. And they really don't want you They just want to call somebody and they want to get it done, and they want to know that your guys are already badged. They don't want to go meet your crews in the badging department, then go down to the parking garage and tell you where to park.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a lot of
yeah.
work.
You're
So
yeah. Well, you're 100% right. Sometimes jump through
yep,
all the hoops is worth it because then you're their guy and you got a
yep,
return customer and they know that you know how to get in. They know that you know where to park. They know that you have their system down.
yeah.
So
Some
yeah, that
department head boss called them and said, "You better get this done by the end of the week." They're like, "Man, I can't risk hiring a new guy. I want to
yeah,
get in trouble."
exactly. It's like,
You
oh, I got a price that's $1,000 cheaper, but you know what? Just go do it. So
I got to get it done. I don't want to get in trouble.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
but
exactly.
let's talk about your running that you're going to be doing this, talking about running a crew that produces, which is, I think, a huge thing. I mean, we watch a lot of videos. We have everybody on all these podcasts and all these videos saying, this is how you build fence quick. This is what you do and all that. But just building quick doesn't mean you have a productive crew, right? So,
Absolutely.
what's the biggest reasons crews underperform that you can think of? I know I'm going to catch you on the spot here. I didn't preload these questions for you, but what do you think the biggest reason crews underperform?
I think a lot of the problems that we've ran into is from coordination. If they don't have the right materials, if they don't have the right approved shop drawings, and so or if the customer doesn't have the proper alignment staked or anything like that, those are a lot of the things that have really tied us up in the past of just not having the proper communication channels, knowing who's the on-site contact, what are the on-site requirements. Things like that can just eat away the time when they should be building fence, but they're checking in with so and so because they called someone else. They didn't have the right contact information. A lot of coordination, making sure that they have the approved shop drawings, the correct materials, all that stuff ahead of time is a big time waster.
Yep.
As far as that goes, because and you'd be surprised because I've seen it a million times. Guys show up on the job, they're not sure who to talk to. The fence might have stuff in the way, or maybe it's just not staked out properly, or there's all kinds of things like that that'll tie you up. So
Yeah.
without giving away too much, but having that proper coordination. Nowadays we all have iPads, we all have iPhones. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have access to the correct information when you're going out to build a fence. So that's one of the big red flags that I've seen that's really affected the productivity of the companies.
Yeah.
So
And I think with us with the crews, the second we stray away from procedures, man, the second, I mean, it's and everybody sometimes thinks those procedures that you as a business owner come up with over the decades you're doing it, it seems silly, right? It seems silly to have a checklist that says, hey, when they're pulling out of the yard, they stop and you look at the gate and you make sure a sign's on the gate. And that's because, you've had too many jobs where the crews forgot to put a sign at all on the project, right? So this
Yeah.
guarantees, and for us, that guarantees there's at least one sign on the job.
Yeah.
If
100%.
they don't take a
a
sign,
hundred
at least put
percent.
a sign on the gate, and that gate, that sign is there. You're hoping they put one in the corner, and you're, strategically where you try to, guide them on and do it. And then even then, we have a question that we check the gates. Did you measure the gate itself? And the work order would typically say what the posts were set at, right? And the day before, or whatever it is, they'll say 39 and a half inches, whatever the opening is. And did you measure the gate, or did you just grab the one that was labeled for that customer and without measuring it? And then did you grab the hardware, right? And did you
Yeah,
check?
exactly.
You've got a pin hinge. This pin hinge may have only cost us $2 for this side, $3 for this side, and for the gate and the male and the female side. And then and then we even have them. Did you check to make sure one part's not for 5/8 and one part of the pin isn't for half inch, right? And then it's not going to work when you get out there. So these silly little things that if we don't run through in the morning as they're leaving, you now have a non-productive crew because they need to be somewhere the next day. At the end of and they don't never notice this stuff, that the fork latch is wrong or something like this,
Yep.
until the end of the day. And now you've got a crew going back out for $3 worth of parts the next day, and what would have taken them 10 minutes is now 3 hours, right? And it's
100%. Yeah.
yeah, the difference between making money or losing money. So I love that. Yeah, you kind of have a lot of similar mentality when it comes to that. So I'll tell you what I had down for this. I was just curious what you were going to say, which is similar to what you had: lack of systems, right?
Okay.
No
Yeah.
accountability. If we don't no accountability, if we don't tell these crews this job has to be done today,
Hmm.
and then when they come back and say, "Oh man, I still got something," if you don't question it and say, "Look, man, what's the real reason you didn't finish that today?" Right? What's the
Hmm.
real? I mean, and go to find out it's because they only brought one rock bar when they needed three, right? When they're digging, or
Yeah.
they didn't have the half-inch bit for the hammer drill, so they got to go back and bolt that post down tomorrow, and they're just leaving the fact out, that those little facts out. And I think no accountability, poor prep before the crew leaves the shop, which goes back to what I said, prepping
Yeah.
it, and communication breakdowns, which kind of what you were saying. There's no
Yeah.
reason to get to the job site and not know what you're doing, especially with technology now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like somebody commented that if you're getting phone calls from the field, which we've all gotten, that you have broken systems, and that's a fact, man. Because but it happens. It still happens. Sometimes.
Yeah, who
So
was that? Veronica. That was Veronica. So she says, if your phone
Veronica.
is, yeah, if your phone is blowing up from the guys in the field, your internal system is broken, and you're always going to get some calls. There's going to be something that happens
Yes.
out there. But if every single day your first calls in the morning by 8, 9 o'clock is a couple of your crews, and you've only got three going out, and two of them
Yeah.
are missing.
Exactly.
One missed an extension cord. The other one didn't bring the latch. The other one is missing one post, and they didn't bring the slats or whatever it is. Then yeah, she's right. There's something broken. You know?
Well, and I like what you said about accountability, because I've seen it firsthand, the no accountability thing at work in some of my previous employers. And it was like, there's no accountability. And it didn't matter. Oh, we'll send it back tomorrow. Oh, we'll send it back tomorrow. Oh, we'll send it back tomorrow. Oh, wait, how come we didn't make as much profit this year? It's like,
Yeah,
well, you got that attitude of I'll send it back tomorrow. You're basically writing a blank check to give good service when you really just don't have the right systems and the right accountability in place. So
yeah.
that's a big thing, is having the accountability in the field and in the office.
And that starts when you hire them, because if you were to look at our handbook and stuff that everybody signs, when they're hired on, everything from the driving policies to the alcohol, cigarettes. I
Hmm.
mean, all those policies that got added in, even being on your phone in front of the customers, things like this, right? We actually put in there that you're going to be available 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. if we need you. We put it
Hmm.
in right. We're not obviously going to work everybody 12 hours a day, and sometimes you start a little early, but sometimes it's 7. But 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because if you got an hour left to do a job, and then we try. I mean, the policy is to check in with them by noon, and then again at 2. Otherwise, they want to be back by 3, 2:33, and you ask them where they're at, and you need to be able to make a call. Hey, I'm going to need you to stay the extra hour or two to finish this job, and they're supposed to be available. And quickly, what'll happen is they'll be like, "Man, I can't. I got a haircut appointment at 4. Oh, I gotta
Yeah.
do this. I gotta pick my kids up. I gotta do this. I gotta do that." And I'm like, "Man, that's not what we agreed to. You agreed to be available. Now, if you double booked yourself with a haircut, right? Then
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. Okay, but your first booking and your first commitment was to me till 6 if I need you, and occasionally on the weekends. Now I haven't asked you to do this in 3 months, right?
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah,
I'm not going to be
yeah,
the bad guy here, right?
yeah, yeah.
So accountability comes in, and then you better have a system in place to say, look, I'm sorry that you made this appointment. You were planning on going somewhere at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but you agreed to work for me till 6 if I need you, and I need you, and I haven't asked you in 3 months. So if you don't do this, there's going to be a write up in your file.
Yeah, yeah,
And you can, if you want to continue to make appointments at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's fine. But just know that those appointments might get canceled. That's the commitment you made to us.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, so accountability. This is where Sasha, we had a question for Sasha, so I'm going to put this is going to be Sasha since I'm assuming because from Australia and it's Crocodile Dundee. So
Oh, perfect,
Sasha would
perfect.
say, right? So I brought Sasha with us anyway. But so Sasha would be like, "Hey, what separates a solid crew from a crew that struggles?" Probably all the
Oh,
stuff we just talked about, but what's one thing that stands out?
oh man, I would say either dedication or accountability. You know,
Yep. Yeah.
just having someone who's dialed in versus having someone who's just there to get a check. You
Yeah.
know, that makes a big difference. That makes a huge
Oh, for sure.
difference.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a horrible question, Sasha. I mean, he just did. Well, I don't know why he
No,
even
I,
came
I
in.
like that
Yeah.
question. Yeah, no, no. I like the croc. Yeah, I like the croc. I'm a bullfrog myself. I'm a more of a bullfrog guy myself, Jeremiah the bullfrog.
I
But
think I think people keep leaving these alligators everywhere around, and and I'm not necessarily afraid of. I mean, I don't want to go near one because I don't want to get eaten, but I think people are a little bit nuts when I see them just kind of got hanging out around the water in Florida or something, and as if it's like no big deal, and they're just kayaking out there, and there's these alligators running around. I mean, it's just nuts. But I just think that's a little crazy. But I'm not necessarily. But people keep bringing these alligators and stuff everywhere I go, and like putting them on the desk and putting them everywhere. So I gotta break that. I guess I'm gonna have to go do some crocodile wrestling or something just to prove
oh
everybody I'm not
no,
afraid.
oh no,
You know,
you can, yeah, you can do it. I'll pass on
we
that one for sure, for
we had one
sure.
at demo days, swimming around in the pond. At the demo days one in Florida. So I guess he was a baby one, but big enough. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Though sharks and alligators, they freak me out a little bit. I'll stay
Yeah.
out of the ocean. That's fine with me.
I like sharks more than alligators. I don't know what it is, man. I think a
Yeah.
shark just chews you up real quick. An alligator just tortures you and buries you under a rock or something. It sounds worse.
Oh, no, no to both. No to both, for sure. For
Hey, but
sure.
you've got not just that. I know we kind of went through that, running a crew and stuff. You've got advanced pricing strategies coming up,
Yes.
and people they just focus a lot on getting the job, kind of what we were talking about, and they forget to make money on the job. And I'm glad we talked about underpricing. So I think underpricing is not just throwing a cheap price at it. You may not have lowballed it. You just didn't know what your actual production numbers are of your crews.
100%.
So,
Yep.
you know,
100%.
and and it sounds like you're going to be going into some of that and
Yep.
talking about racing to the bottom, pricing based off of fear. Tell me about that.
Yeah, for me, I feel like a lot of companies are more concerned to keep the guys busy. Oh, I got to keep my guys busy. Oh, I got to keep my guys busy. But if you're sending out a truck and it's not bringing in back the right return, it's like
Yep.
that's kind of you're pricing it out of fear because you got to keep this guy busy,
Yep.
and you got to keep your backlog going, and it's always about the backlog and keep my
Yeah.
I got to keep all my guys busy. But it's like, well, if you're sending out that crew and you're not making the right amount of profit, then the whole company's gonna suffer. You know,
Yep.
so that's kind of the bottom line there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I get stuck in that. We all do. We're always there's all kinds of different fear. There's the fear, how are you going to keep your guys busy? And there's the fear that if I get rid of these guys and I got these jobs that we've always got 10 customers that have promised us this job, these big jobs, these $100,000
Oh
jobs, these
yeah.
$80,000 jobs, these $250,000 job, maybe it's a $2 million job. We've all got these jobs that everybody says we got that we think are coming in the next 2 weeks to a month or right. I mean, whatever it is.
For
So you're
sure.
afraid, and being that it is tough to find people, you're afraid out of fear of letting these people you do have go, even though you don't have any work from them, because you're like, what am I going to do when I sell these jobs? I'm not going to have anybody to do the installation if you start ramping it down. And do you think that fear is out there? You think it's justified?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, for sure, that's a part of what's going on. But you just never know what the future holds, you know. And you can't until you have the materials, all the approved submittals, the contract in place. You can't really bet on it. I guess you'd say, you know. You got to
Yeah.
make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you're promising people that you're going to keep them busy for 3 weeks or whatever on certain jobs.
Yeah, and in the yard, what's funny is they want their hours. I remember we've had guys before that was like working, they're always calling off, and I'm looking at the checks, and I'm like, man, it's been 6 months, and this guy's never got more than 32 hours, and it's always some reason leaving early, or he's always back the first one back, and so it's an hour and a half off this day, 2 hours off this day, or maybe missing a day. Only it probably hasn't had one week where he's worked 40 hours. So I'm like, hey man, how about we just give you Fridays off? Pick a day. That way you're never feeling like you're in trouble. You're not having to call off. We'll just give you we'll schedule you 32. Oh, I can't do that, man. I got to have 40 hours. I'm like, but you haven't worked 40 hours in 6 months. So can we just
Yeah.
schedule you for 32? Well, I can't do that. I'll have to find another job. I go, you're going to have to find another job if I continue to give you the hours you're doing now.
Yeah. Go make sense out of that.
So you just want me to guarantee you 40 hours in case you need it ever. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well, he doesn't want to
Well,
have to explain to his wife why he's working part time, you know?
if I could just get a raise, then I wouldn't, that's really what I need. I'm not making enough money. No, you're just not working the full 40 hours plus the
Yeah,
5 hours
yeah,
extra
yeah.
overtime I
True.
would give you.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's a common thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
Funny
sure.
story. A few months back, I come in and there's this guy in the yard, and he's just like cutting up scrap, stuff that's getting ready to go into the recycle bin. I don't know if you've had recycle bins before, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
uh, we, we cut up all of our metal and stuff. It goes in the recycle bin, and you basically it's one of those magic dumpsters where you throw like $5,000 worth of scrap in there, and they give you like $30. When you
Yeah.
recycle it. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. We've had those.
so he's back there just cutting and cutting up, and I'm up in the front, and I'm talking to everybody. I'm like, "Who is that guy?" And go to find out we hired him. We were really busy in the weld shop. Another guy in the weld shop, and I'm like, "So what's he doing?" He's just back there cutting up scrap metal, and we end up we're real good at. And I don't know if this is a lot of companies do this. We're good at it. We ramp up, right? We're really good at ramping up when we're busy, but we're really bad at ramping down. And
Yes.
when
Yes.
the work is a little slower. So it's you think that's something that a lot of companies do?
Yes, I think it is. A lot of times people want to keep someone on the payroll from the busy season, and
Yep.
maybe necessarily your overhead's not supporting that person anymore, but they keep them around anyways because for whatever reason, you know. And you're never going to have too many yard guys because the yard guy's never going to say, "Hey, I need
Nope.
more to do. I can't, I can't do without these three other guys." You know what I mean, or whatever,
Yeah.
two other guys or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're never going to have somebody say, "I don't need him," but that's kind of how it is sometimes.
Yeah. And then of course that guy's not there no more. But
Yes, I got that.
I'm like, what's he, I'm like, well, I think it's time to let him go. If you hired
You're
him
like,
to build some gates when you had 30 gates to build, and then those 30 gates are gone, I'm sorry, you guys. You're really good at hiring. Like, well, you want us to do it? I'm like, yeah, you hired him. I go, you
yeah.
guys get rid of him.
Yeah, you're like, hey, either our business stays open or this guy stays on the staff. You
I'm
decide.
not even sure what his name is. You guys, I'm like, you guys got to go get rid of him. Right? But right now he's just behind the building cutting up scrap metal at $35 an hour. I think it's
Yeah,
time.
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
So
no, that's a common thing. Ramping up and then not ramping down. That's a
yeah.
very common thing.
What do you
So,
think going into the pricing? What do you think and because I know you bid a lot of specialty stuff and a lot of larger projects and I'm sure you've seen some crazy ones and you've seen some pretty consistent ones. What do you think though? But it's probably still the same. What do you think some hidden costs that contractors are all often forget inside these bids?
well, I think that there's more to it than that. I feel like well, for one of the costs, I think is like the submittal process and the CAD drawings, and then oh no, we need engineering and those kind of things that you get caught into, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, I didn't bid it like this. Redrawn this fence three different ways. Plus, you want a layout. Plus, you want an option for this, and you want. So now I'm doing six drawings. when
Yep.
maybe we figured one or two, and I'm paying a CAD guy $40 an hour to do
Yep.
drawings. And so I feel like doing the submittals and the CAD, I feel like that's one of the costs that a lot of people aren't accommodating for in their bids.
Yep.
And so that's some of the shop time. You know, when you're
Yep.
loading, unloading materials, you got to run over here. You know, an hour away, go pick some panels up from some perforated metal screening for the gates or something. Then you got to bring it back, or it needs to go to the powder coaters, or you know, it's like
Yep.
all these little nickel and dime, nickel and dime, nickel and dime. Next thing you know, you're spending thousands of dollars that isn't getting captured in your proposal. So
Yep.
that can definitely hit the bottom line hard. The bigger the operation, the more money it's going to cost you. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
if
one of those things.
for us, it's stuff you learn over the years is we have a lot of we don't have a ton. I mean, you could fit most of my conditions on the homepage of the bid, basically. And it's the major stuff, that we end up, you've got to have permits, engineering, things like this got to be out there. It's got to be outlined who's doing it. Even I think what a lot of people get caught on is they're like, hey, per bids and plans. I mean, you'd have to be out of your mind to just throw a number and say per bids and plans. And I think it's a lazy
Hmm.
way to bid something, and you're almost going to get caught every time because you're basically agreed to all the revisions. You've agreed to everything. So if you're going to bid something per bids and plans, you're bidding to a specific. I won't even bid to on a project like this Safeway complex or whatever it is. Even if it just says a dumpster gate, I'll bid per page. F1, you know what I mean? Section 3. That's what I
Yes,
bid. Not
yes.
never just per bids and plans for this project because fencing as well as I do. I mean, you might have a section in landscaping, you might have some in civil, you might end up with some on the site plan. I mean, there's no consistency on fencing, and then
Oh
you'll miss
no.
something
Yeah.
if you do per bids and plans, almost guarantee. So little things like like that kind of gets us. And then if you don't get the engineering thing down. I mean, we have in there, hey, price may change based off engineering. So you bid it a certain way, and I don't care if you've been building it that way your entire life, and it's the way your father built it, your grandfather built it, and you've never had a fence fall over. If you figured the engineering in and you bid it a certain way, and you don't have something in there saying that you might have to revise your price based off the engineering, and this engineer comes back and says, I want a 2 foot deep or 2 foot wide hole, 5 foot deep with steel cages now around
Oh
it.
yeah. With yep,
And
yep.
and that's not uncommon to happen, right? And you were like, well,
No.
no, man, I went 3 feet, 1 foot by 3 feet. I'm like, hey, well, they just went 2 foot by 5 with steel cages. So you now just have an extra 5 grand in concrete and steel cages, and you may not be able to charge more for it. So I think for me, that's the kind of stuff that you got to really watch, and
Yep.
make sure it doesn't come. And third party inspections, that's another one. You know what I mean? Sometimes that gets thrown on you, x-raying the floors.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yep.
just I could go on and on about that kind of stuff. So you have to literally throw these little things in there. I mean, we even have stuff about cracked concrete, landscaping damages. I mean, we would fix a sprinkler pipe, but my contract says I don't have to, right?
Yeah.
But
100%. Yeah.
a curb that got broken. I mean, if you don't have these little things in there, you got to go out there with a camera and take a video of all the sidewalks, all the curbs, every piece of concrete, landscaping, and document every crack in the concrete, every crack in a curb, because guarantee you they're going to come back and say you did it, you had something to do with it, and you need to fix it.
Oh yeah, well, and like you mentioned, the third party inspections. Earlier, we were talking about doing work at hospitals. Pretty
Yep.
much anytime you're working at a hospital, they have OSHPD inspectors, and they want to inspect the material. They want to
Yep.
inspect it being welded. They want to inspect it being coated. It's like you got you got a whole lot of office time and coordination time just
Yep.
before you even get on the site. And
Yeah.
a lot of times that time's not figured in the bid,
Yep.
unless you did it correctly. So. Yeah,
Dude, I
there's a
had
lot
one.
of things.
I had one time that wanted to sit there and watch us blow out the dust out of the holes we drilled. And
Oh,
you're paying this guy. Well, was it going along a wall or something? I don't remember. It was on a wall or a sidewalk on top of a wall, and you had to drill the holes, and then he had to watch us blow to make sure we blew out the dust, out of the hole before we put the anchor in. And then he's looking at
yeah.
the marks on the top of the anchor, and he wanted to make sure we weren't cutting the anchors off. You know, right? And he's charging you by the hour to stand out there while you're doing it. You know?
Yeah. Well, luckily he's not charging you, but he's charging the city or the county or whoever it was.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're on the hook for third party if you're handling all the permits, inspections, and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, again, those are just stuff that we kind of watch out for. But I what's that?
We're getting the ring cam footage live.
That's in that's in her backyard. That's kind of creepy.
What is that?
I don't know. What is that? Is that a bird or that's an alligator? She needs to move.
Ooh.
I don't know what she's doing there, man. I have no freaking idea. And she's got her kid out swimming in the pool, probably like 10 feet from that thing. You know what I mean? He's probably out there right
Oh,
now, you know?
yeah, I'll pass on that.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
in
Yeah.
Louisiana?
Yep.
Ooh. Ooh.
No, I want nothing to do with that, man. I would be, I mean, I carry up in Nevada already. I mean, I'd be going out, I'd have to have a gun to take the trash out. I'd be like looking underneath the car and it would just be, I would never be comfortable, right? I'd have to stop wearing flip-flops. It would just be, I'd be wearing boots all the time to protect my legs from
Yeah, we're
getting,
West Coast guys for sure, Brian.
we don't have bugs either, man. They got these giant bugs. Hey, but I want to get back on the pricing. I think this is where I think a lot of people struggle too is how do they confidently charge more or even get deposits and things like this,
Yeah, well,
you know?
what one of the things that we try to leverage off of our relationships so that the customer knows us, they've hired us before. Because I mean, if you've never done work for a contractor, you don't understand if they're going to schedule you appropriately or if they're going to have realistic expectations. But once you've done a few jobs with a contractor, you can leverage that relationship. And I'm not saying like charge them double, but you can charge them more and get away with it. And they're not going to question things. And if you do a good job and you don't have a punch list because you did it right the first time, then you can kind of build on your brand and your relationship, and you can make a profit and a healthy profit. So that's one
Yeah.
of our emphasis.
Yeah, and I agree because the way it works is they need to get the job done, and there could be three other contractors behind you, and there's a schedule they're trying to meet. They could have like even though you don't, maybe they have liquidated damages. Maybe they got to get the job done by a certain time, and they didn't pass that on to you because hopefully, if it was me, I would have redlined the liquidated damages anyway.
For sure.
So they want people they can trust because sometimes you might be holding up, the entire the next phase of the project. So you can definitely, I want to say charge more. It's just you're charging for the confidence they have in you. So if you can
Exactly.
go,
Yeah, 100%.
you know, and that comes down to right, and that's why I know we'll be getting into a lot of this in Las Vegas at the fence show for the Full Throttle. Is a lot of that's going to get into that. You're going to be teaching them, and a lot of people are going to be teaching them how to bid commercial and all those classes we got going on. It's going to teach them how to do that. I mean, confidence comes right from the bid, and again, it goes back to what I said. If you're just bidding a price with per pans and specs, you haven't instilled any confidence in them. Then it gets into a bidding war. Then it comes down to who's the cheapest. But you can
Yeah.
sometimes not have to be the cheapest if you show them you're ready to do the work. What if your quote is ready for permit?
Yep.
Showing
100%.
drawings, showing
Yeah.
them what you're building. That's how you're going to get that extra money. Not always, but I'll do the extra work to hopefully separate myself from them. And I know if anybody likes what they're hearing here, like and follow us too because we could use those. I know I never say that, and every time I watch some other video on YouTube, they're like, "Hey, take a moment if you
Oh
like what
yeah,
you hear
like
and
the
like and
video.
follow
Yeah.
this and like me." I don't know why we don't ever say that, but we're saying it now. You guys like and follow this thing because it helps us.
Yeah.
I know if you like any of this stuff, obviously you're going to be able to hear more from Jeremiah. And there's already at least 20, 30 instructors working with Veronica, and there's going to be probably 40 to
Yep.
50 when we're done. And this is going to be the biggest lineup of people with experience like yourself coming into one place where else can you get a full throttle pass for what is it, $150, $149 or something,
Oh, it's a
and
steal.
get
Yeah.
all that education. I mean, hell, it's worth it just for the beer, right? And it comes with some beer and
Oh
some snacks.
yeah.
But where else can you get that? Get this kind of experience. If you like it, get to Las Vegas, go to fenceshow.com, register, sign up, select that Full Throttle, and just start popping in these classes, and there's some big classes going on for the 2 days prior to the expo and then during the expo. But I want to say thank you for coming on, but I'm not going to let you off without our rapid fire round. This
Okay.
is always the funnest part for me. So just the first thing that comes to your mind, don't don't worry about the answers. We're going to go back through and we're just going to take all your bad ones and chop them up and make that a short anyway. So so okay, we're throwing these at you. Rapid fire round. First thing comes to your mind. I haven't even read these yet. Susan normally throws these at me at the last minute because she doesn't want me preparing you or anybody for these things. So biggest productivity killer on a job site.
Oh, I would just say things not being ready.
Okay. One thing the foreman should track.
Um,
These are horrible, Susan. Why would you do this to somebody on a rapid fire question?
that's hard for me to be rapid about. Yeah.
Why can't it be something like, what do you normally eat, when you're eating lunch on a job site, right?
Yeah. One thing every foreman should track. I
Yeah.
would, uh, that's a tough one. You might have to chop this.
Pretty pretty fast. Well, I mean, I think they should be tracking their helpers.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you got to track your guys and their productivity.
Yeah, but what would you be tracking? I guess you know what I believe the foreman himself, they all want to increase. They want to get increase at the company, get a better job, make more money. When you go into reviews, I think they should be tracking their productivity, and they should be they should be tracking what they're completing, and they should know what they're able to complete. So when you give them a job that's 450 feet, and you say you got to finish this in 2 days, they should know whether it's something they can do or not. Not just
100%. Yeah.
not just have the superintendent say you need to finish in 2 days. Just say, well, actually, I normally get this was going to take me 3 days. That way, they're not feeling under the pressure, and then have
Yeah,
a
for
conversation
sure.
about it. So they
For
should know what
sure.
they can do. Um, Most underpriced item in fencing,
Gates.
for sure,
Always
100%.
gates.
100%.
Always the gates. Because anytime you get called back, it's going to be because of one of the gates.
Yeah.
Gates are underpriced. The only people who don't underprice gates are Ty Metal and Ameristar, and they're not installing them. So that's gates, 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 and gates.
So, biggest investment for improving your crews. What do you think that would be?
I would have to say 100% technology.
Yeah.
If you're sending your guys to the field with paper, then you're in the 90s. They should
Yeah.
have an iPad. They should have a laptop, whatever technology that you have, they should have.
That's
And they should
interesting.
have the right information, concrete mix design or bag mix or whatever. They should know what you're using. They should have some kind of technology so that they
Yep.
can properly execute.
Susan says no clipboards. I don't know, man. I
No,
still send
no,
them.
no more platinum rooms and no more clipboards. We're
Man, I
past
still
all
send them out
that.
with paperwork. I still send them. We have an older sales guy too, man. And he still handwrites all of his work orders. So I do everything on my computer, but I know. So I think as things shift, you're going to see more of a digital shift, right? It's going to go
For
completely
sure, for
paperless.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. One leadership trait every crew leader needs.
I would say, integrity. You're not letting your guys off early and paying and reporting that they got a full day. You're not trying
Nice.
to steal a material for a side job. Like you said earlier, if I tell you get this done in 2 days and you think it's going to take three, well, tell me now. You know what I mean? I would say integrity, but that's just in general. If you're going to be a leader, you should have
Yep.
integrity.
Yeah. I think for me, it would be demeanor and attitude because you set the pace for the entire job for the day. If you come in, if you've got crew leaders that walk in, and I said this before, even some of ours, and we almost don't want them in the meetings in the morning. If one guy walks in, he's got his shoes untied, his boots untied still, and he crouches down in his chair, and he's like, "Man, I don't want to be here today." Three other people in that room are gonna be like, "Man, I don't want to be here either. I just want to go home." But
True,
if you walk in there, you're like, "All right, you guys, let's go. Let's get," you know what I mean? You're going to get one of the guy in that room going, "Yeah, let's do it." It's infectious, right?
for
So
sure.
I think attitude and how you carry yourself, demeanor, it sets the pace and it actually trains that helper, that's with it. So, what's the biggest mistake owners make when they're pricing?
The biggest mistake owners make when they're pricing. I honestly feel like just like not putting enough markup or profit. You know,
Nice. That's it, man. That was
that's
easy.
it. Okay, cool, cool. Well, thanks for having me. I'll see everybody in October.
I appreciate it. So, tell everybody again what you're going to be teaching.
We're doing the crew productivity, right?
Yep.
And the estimating. What was it? You got the outline in front of you.
You got three. You got three. I know you got another one coming up, but we're not going to announce the other one yet. But you got advanced pricing strategies and running a
Advanced
crew.
pricing strategies.
Yep,
Yes.
and running a crew that produces. But last year, I mean, you killed it on what you were working on with the bidding and commercial stuff. So I'm
Oh, good. I'm
excited to
glad to hear
see.
that.
I'm excited to hear and see what you're doing with this stuff, man. I appreciate it. I know you're in California, so it's not like it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night. You still got time to hit happy hour. So
Yeah.
appreciate it. We'll see you in October, man.
All right. Cool, man. Sounds good.
Everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. Again, the new hours, it's not Wednesdays anymore. Next week is Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks again for tuning in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, man.